freshman, as you will. This one is another Florida State product. Freshman running back Cam Akers. He's not going to be the starter yet until he outruns his competition.
Yeah, week 1 will be an end to that.
So the good for Cam Akers, he's extremely elusive. He was a quarterback in high school who ran better than almost any running back I've ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
That's why he's playing running back.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely saw that.
His jukes and his fakes are like what you see in basketball when they break ankles.
Yeah, he's got video game moves at times.
It's insane. He makes fast decisions, which is less dangerous as a running back than it is as a quarterback.
Right.
So that's definitely really good. Even more important, he makes good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He knows when to cut up field. He knows when to reverse field, and he makes it work. And I can honestly see him being better than Dalvin Cook when it's all said and done.
There's a possibility.
He's explosive. Much like Lamar Jackson, he's good at finding holes. Going back to something I just touched on, he is great at changing direction in an instant. And probably the best thing for him, he's hard to tackle. Yeah,
he doesn't seem to go down easily.
No. Now the bad, and these are all things that I think are correctable. He's sloppy with the ball, much like
carrying it out.
Yeah, he mostly the problem that I had with him was when he was changing from his left arm to his right arm. He grabs the football and holds it and then brings it in rather than securing with the arm and bringing down. So he gets it in his hand, grabs with the other hand, and pulls in, which is too slow. When you're playing at college speed, there's going to be a corner or a linebacker who's going to take that ball from you.
Yes, so, and he'll learn that. That's I'm sure he's learning that now.
He looks like he's trying to be a superstar, which you've got to, when you're playing a team sport, you've got to have the mentality of, I'm going to help this team win a championship. Nah, I'm going to get mine. Mm-hmm. And the next one, I can't even really fault him on because it's something we haven't seen. Running backs need to pass block. How is he at pass blocking?
That's a question mark. I mean, then again, a lot of this you're taking from high school film,
where he was a quarterback,
where it's also the level of talent he's going up against. Which I mean, I'm sure he did go up against high level talent. It's a different ballgame. I mean, that being said, he was still the U.S. Army Player of the Year. He was still
Mr. Football,
2,105 yards just rushing, 34 touchdowns just rushing, and he's a true freshman. So all of those things that we're saying are necessarily his bads are something that you're getting a guy who's 18, 19 years old that can easily be corrected out of these habits because the habits aren't really that bad. And especially the superstar one. I don't necessarily know that I disagree or agree with that because I think he thinks he is a superstar and he might be acting like it a little too early. And I think he will get the gut check, realizing that this is a different game.
I think today, level. Not being named the starter.
And sure, and maybe that is, but I also don't want to discourage. If I was the coaching staff, I don't want to discourage it entirely. I want him to pump the brakes on it.
Yeah,
but I want you to have that drive because in 2 years or next year, you are going to have to be the man.
Yeah, I don't want him to turn around at the 10 and start backpedaling to the end zone, taunting the.
No, you don't need any. You don't need any of that. But I think he's going to be a talent and a force in the ACC.
I can't think
foreseeable future.
I can't think of any running back that I can compare him to. Maybe Todd Gurley.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
But I think Todd Gurley was more of a power runner.
Yeah, that's a decent comparison. But I don't feel he's got Gurley's size and strength.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see what he turns out to be because I could see him. I mean, the way his size and everything breaks down, depending on how he is out in flats. I mean, he
looked really good.
He could be similar to Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson.
He looked really good.
Go out and be versatile.
Yeah,
which would be a huge
help for
Francois. Yeah, because he needs it.
Florida State looking promising.
So. Florida State is looking promising.
Got that right.
Anything more about Cam Akers before we move on to our final one?
Just intrigue.
Okay. And now, I'm going to take back what I said about Francois. This is the most interesting name in all of college football. Another true freshman who will not be starting, but I think by the time the season's over, he will have started multiple games. And that is N'Kosi Perry, who will be playing at the University of Miami. I watched a lot of film on him, and oh my goodness, was I loving it. Mm-hmm. This kid is special. And I don't say that a lot about dual threat quarterbacks, but this kid, whatever it is, he's got it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because he was only ranked in the top 150. And I joined a group on Facebook where pretty much everyone is either a fan of Miami, Florida State, or Florida. And that's how I really found out about him. And doing my homework on him, I want to see this kid succeed, except for the fact that I hate Miami.
Yeah. Well.
So let's just go through his pros really quickly. He's got a really fast release, and he throws it fast. He makes smart throws. The best thing about him is he's always looking downfield.
He can throw on the run while he's moving.
Yeah, he is always looking downfield. He's not worrying about what's going on behind him.
Mm-hmm.
He trusts that his linemen have it, which is good.
Right, you definitely want that belief until you get rocked.
Yeah. He looks to throw first, which is
good for a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah. The best part about him, he was fitting the ball in some very tight windows. Mm-hmm. So he's making NFL throws in high school, it looked like. So I'm excited to watch that. He's willing to block, which could be good, could be bad.
Yeah, you don't see that out of a quarterback often, that's for sure.
He's extremely athletic. Much like Russell Wilson, he's very good at moving in the pocket. Mm-hmm. He actually extends the pocket, which is great. He's got decent arm strength. It's not the best, but it's definitely good enough.
The weight room will fix that.
Yeah, especially because he's like 130 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, he's not big. They want him to be around 170, 180, but I also know that he has been putting on weight, and he's closer to the 170 number now.
That's good. And like a good quarterback should, he knows where everyone's supposed to be on every play.
And that goes to his football IQ. I think he's extremely smart in the way he plays. Which
is funny, and I might get blasted for saying this, but I watched some interviews with him. Man, he sounds like the dumbest person I've ever met.
No, some of the athletes, the best athletes, are kind of dumb.
Yeah. Anyways, his cons. He's a bit reckless when carrying the ball. Not as bad as some of the others.
And he may not. And the thing is, he shouldn't have to be required to run as much as he did in high school.
Right. He's reckless with his body. That's going back to that blocking. He threw himself for a block.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's nice to see, but you don't need to put yourself in jeopardy.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's not Big Ben.
No,
Big Ben can block.
The effort's appreciated, but let's not kill you.
All you need is like what Tom Brady does. Just catch up with the player and just get in front of them. Mm-hmm. You don't have to throw yourself. He moves laterally too much. As someone who enjoys really, really watching football, I think it's detrimental to not be moving north and south. Moving side to side is terrible. So as a former coach, it really grinds my gears to say.
You are getting blasted, as you mentioned there.
Yeah, it really grinds my gears to say that someone with that handles the ball moves side to side more than move up and down.
Well, I mean, east to west isn't. It's not. That's not how you do football.
It's not productive.
Northwest is the way we're going. We say it to running backs all the time. But quarterbacks can be hurt just as equally by doing that nonsense.
East to west is good if you can't take a knee and you got to run the ball out for like
East
8
to
seconds.
west is good for manifest destiny. That's about it. We don't need it in football. You need to get that ball out of your hand and going north to south.
Yeah, that's a good point. He also has an odd drop back. He crosses his legs. Like seeing his drop backs, he's either completely sideways or he's completely facing forward. So he takes these weird back pedal, or his legs are like pretzels.
That's fundamentals. That's things that you can break his habit of being able to do that. Probably part of the reason he's not the starter.
Right. His footwork, watching him run, it's weird. He looks like he's marching when he's running sometimes. It's odd. His feet go straight up and down. If you've ever watched Lamar Jackson, he looks like a gazelle.
Yeah, you can teach him to run like a normal.
Like a normal.
Again, teachable, all teachable.
And then he's cocky.
Well, what most quarterbacks are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
being young.
seems to be a given. I mean, I find him interesting. I mean, he's 6'3". That's a great size. He's getting positive feedback from his team, and he is that dual threat. I mean, Miami definitely needed to turn things around and go in a much better direction, and I think they couldn't have found a better kid for that.
Yeah, and it was pretty intelligent on their part, I think, to go after, not put all your eggs in a basket like Justin Fields.
No, right. No, I agree with that entirely. Yeah.
Because you're getting a more manageable, quarterback who is willing to commit.
A lot of upsides, couple of downs, but the downs can be corrected.
I'm not someone who buys into the whole, rating system anyways, because my favorite team has been through it. Anthony Morelli was the number one prospect in...
Well, yeah, I mean, we can do these ranks and these prospects.
Christian Hackenberg.
Top 500 in ESPN. None of this is any indication of what you are going to be at the next level.
Until you play.
There are levels to this game. There's levels to everything in life, but there's levels to this game. And you will only know how good you are when you are on that level.
I mean, think about it. That's why you see these guys like Ben Roethlisberger, who comes from Miami of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This guy
Chuckles
is...
ever told you the story about how he had to write Ben Roethlisberger's mom an apology letter?
No.
We're going to get into that on another podcast.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's a great story. Yeah.
That sounds so great. But it's difficult because you get these players like Quentin Flowers, who got one scholarship offer, and that was for South Florida. And he's lighting it up. You get players like Donnell Pumphrey, who... surprise, is NCAA all-time leading rusher.
Yeah.
And he played at San Diego State.
Yeah.
No, so you can't always tell.
No, you can't. It is no indication. It's a nice barometer, and it keeps us all satisfied, and it gives the junkies their fix.
And again, Christian Hackenberg and Anthony Morelli.
Right.
So I don't buy into it until I have them on the field.
Right. Let's see the product.
Max Brown.
Same thing. Cam Akers, Perry. Let's see what we've got when it's actually on the field.
Exactly.
When it matters. I do have a few more I think that people should keep an eye on. Guys that I just think are going... If you want to watch talent that is ready to go into the pros, two of these guys are going to be there. There's no doubt about it. One is Bradley Chubb out of NC State. D-end, 22 tackles for a loss last year, 10.5 sacks, projected to be a first-rounder, especially on a team in NC State where there's... I have them having a decent year, but there's nothing to really put them in the next level. Boston College has Harold Landry. He's also a defensive end, national leader with 16.5 sacks. He's also going to be going from D-end to playing linebacker as well. A little bit of a Khalil Mack feel there. Probably will be the one bright spot in Boston College because I have them doing very poorly in the ACC.
As do I. As is pretty much everyone else.
Yeah, the only team that is worse, in my opinion, is Virginia.
I have them. Yeah. You're. Yeah.
And another person I want to keep an eye on is Mark Walton. He's the running back out of Miami. Had a pretty underwhelming season last year, but still had a 1,117 yards, 14 touchdowns. With Kaya gone, are they going to lean more on him in the running game as they try and get Perry ready for this? What kind of impact, what kind of jump in numbers will we see from him? Because he looked like a good running back last year, but was on an underwhelming Miami team.
I mean, they had a good record, but
that's nice.
Record and eye test are different. They didn't look that good.
It's also who you play. I mean, you can look good a lot of weeks playing a lot of bad teams, but you Your true colors show out when you have to play the good one.
Of course. And so now we're